Good day. I want to talk a little bit about resources or books specifically for learning to play jazz guitar. So now I have always been fascinated with chords, I think, is what kind of got me started with jazz. And years ago, I used to watch players, and I would always like, man, what's that chord? I really like that chord and stuff. And that kind of led me into jazz because some of the voicings and the chords that you can learn are just really beautiful. So, but I don't, one of the best ways to learn, of course, is to just play with other people. I don't have that opportunity too often to play with other jazz musicians, especially for whatever reason. So, you know, I've learned most of what I've done through books, and I check out some YouTube videos and online stuff, but most of my has been through either listening to the music or using books. So over the years, I've bought so many books, and I would say 9 out of 10 of them, I just end up selling them or something like that. You can usually get something out of a book, but quite often it's maybe just a little tidbit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some of the books that I think are just like the best that I've come across. And the first one is this one, Mickey Baker, jazz book for jazz guitar. Now, I first bought this book in like 1975, I think. It's a music store, and I was looking at books, and I picked it up, and I see all these chords, and I'm like, wow, I've never seen chords like that before. So I bought the book, and I brought it home, and I worked on those chords, and they're beautiful. And so that was the first book I bought. This copy here, see, it's even this copy's kind of tattered and stuff, but this is another copy. I lost that book at some point, and then I went and bought another one. And I haven't bought another one yet because this one's about ready to fall apart on me. But it's an excellent book. You can get it for like $10, and there is so much in it. The first part of it is chords and progressions. Really cool stuff. Doesn't come with a CD or anything. You don't need it. And that's the first part of the book. Now, the second part of the book, which for years I didn't do anything with, requires you to have the knowledge of sight reading, okay? And it was one of the inspirations at some point for me to learn how to sight read. And once I learned how to sight read, I just got, twice as much out of the book. This is an excellent book. It's arpeggios, scales, and tunes, and everything else in there. It's not a very big book, but I can't think of a better book, especially to get started. Great book. Another book that I have here that I think is excellent is by Jody Fisher, total jazz guitarist. This book, it covers almost everything, patterns and chords, and it's an excellent book. It comes with a CD. You want to have the CD, and I've had quite a few books by Jody Fisher, and I don't know, his whole style of teaching and writing and giving you explanations, because there's a lot of written material in here. See, it doesn't show you, he tells you and kind of tells you why all this stuff is happening. This is an excellent book to get started with. The next book I got is another Jody Fisher book. Now, this one's a chord melody book. I really love chord melody, and this is how I kind of started to play chord melody. If you want to play chord melody, this is an excellent book. Comes with a CD. It's pretty thick, and he covers everything you need to know, really, about chord melody. And one of the cool things about this, he has numerous songs that he's composed or whatnot And they're actually really good songs. They're a lot of fun to play. They have tab, okay? And, you know, again, you get some written information too, telling you what's going on, how it works. So if you want to learn chord melody, it's an excellent book. It's just an excellent book to have in your jazz library, I think, too. Okay, probably heard about Ted Green. These are 3 of Ted Green's books I have. And every one, I think, should be in your library if you like jazz. Chord chemistry, you know, every chord you could ever think of is in this book. A lot of fun just to look at, mess around, look at some different voicings. Great resource to have on hand. You open it up and you're going to go like, oh man, you know, what am I going to do with this? But it's a very worthwhile book. And again, Ted does a really good job about, I mean, there's written stuff in here where he talks about this. And so you're learning. You're not just learning grips and stuff like that. You're learning the why of how all this is happening. The next one is Modern Chord Progressions. This is a great book. It's all these chord progressions in here. You can spend years going through all these chord progressions, and you know, some of them are just beautiful voicings, and there's again some more written stuff. Ted Green was an awesome guy. And then this one is Single Note Soloing, which is really good. There's a lot of, you know, if you want to learn jazz, you have to do a lot with scales. You have to do a lot with arpeggios. You need to know your triads and all that stuff. And all this stuff is in here. You can see he starts with the chords and does arpeggios and stuff. It's a great book. It's years of study. And these 3 books, you have years and years of study. Another good book I bought a long time ago, this. And I thought, you know, this is pretty good. It's got tab and chord progressions, a lot of basic stuff. All your basic chords are in here. Some good descriptions. You could probably find this used on eBay or something like that. It's a good buy if you can get it. Another book that I really like, great Joe Pass. Now this one, kind of like the Ted Green book, you're going to have to know how to sight read. And, you know, I put up another video about sight reading. And this is one of the advantages to learn to sight read, is then you can mess around with these books. And there's some really cool stuff in these books. So this is a great book. Now this is a book I found not too long ago, and you could get it really cheap. And if you like blues guitar, I do. And I'm always buying books and checking them out, and then if I don't like them, I just get rid of them, or I got a big box out in the garage I keep them in. But anyway, I got this book, and it comes with a CD, if you want to do that. But this one has, again, a lot of text about how all this stuff works. But this is a really, really, really good book. And, man, there's just a lot of good stuff in here. So, if you see this book, I think I got this book for under $10 on eBay. It's an older book, but, man, that's great. Some of this stuff, some of the old books are actually really good. And, you know, here's an example. So I bought this, I got it on eBay for like $2. And, but it's only got like 15 pages in it. But it is, I mean, I've had so much fun with this book. And it's older phrases. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. And, you know, again, you're going to have to learn how to sight read. So, but, you know, some of the best stuff that I've come across is like this. It's not in tablature. And you need to know how to sight read. So anyway, those, I guess those are kind of like my favorite books that I've collected. And I think if you want to get started, going with those books might be good. There's a lot of books out there that you can choose from. I think I've had probably almost every one of them. And again, I can normally get something out of a book, but these books give you the most bang for your buck. And so anyway, I hope that's helpful. And again, check out my sight reading video. If you don't know how to sight read, you might want to think about it, because it really opens up a whole new, where you can, I think once you learn how to sight read, it's easier than reading tab, for sure. And, but it's just going to take longer to get there. So, if you do that, opens up the door to all kinds of stuff. You can work with real books and everything else, and you can get some really cool, you can go through different books. There's a lot of these types of books out there. Now, these have tab in them, like this Charlie Christian book. So these have tab in it. And if you just like to learn some cool licks or phrases or something like that, these are really helpful too. So I got a lot of books like this. I've got the Grant Green book and stuff like that. But anyway, I hope you find this helpful if you're looking for some good books to buy. Thanks.